Why is Town & Country Portland's fastest growing family of auto dealerships? Simple. It's our commitment. At Town & Country, you get quality, value, and excellence. We call it QVE. You'll find it in the cars we sell, in our low prices and flexible financing, and in our terrific service after the sale. When it comes to QVE, I guess you can say we all speak in the same voice. At the Town & Country dealership, that's just the way we do business.
Protect yourself and your family tomorrow, only on News Center 6 at 5.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. America's oldest ally has accused the United States of spying. France says it caught U.S. diplomats doing, quote, clandestine research on the French economy. France wants them out. But tonight, the U.S. State Department called the charges, and I quote, unwarranted. Others say it's just a case of an eye for an eye, a spy for a spy. Correspondent Mark Phillips begins our report.
Whatever Pamela Harriman, the Democratic Party kingmaker and Bill Clinton confidant, thought when she was given the plum U.S. ambassador's job in Paris, she probably never imagined she'd find herself in the middle of a spy scandal. But today, Harriman was pleading no comment after being told by the French that 5 Americans, including the CIA station chief, were no longer welcome there. The Americans were accused in a newspaper story, later confirmed by the government, of trying to steal industrial secrets and trade negotiation strategies. French Prime Minister Edouard Balladur tried to play down the affair, saying these things happen, but those in the know say it's really a tit-for-tat retaliation after the French were accused of spying on the American aircraft industry.
Certainly the French have been looking for 2 years to try and find some evidence in order to embarrass the American authorities.
Because of the American expulsion of French agents 2 years ago?
Yes.
The end of the Cold War hasn't meant the end of espionage. Today, spying may be more concerned with the industrial than the ideological, but as we've seen today, it's still happening, and it can still get ugly, even between supposed friends and allies. Mark Phillips, CBS News, London.
In industrial espionage, the French and Americans have been playing spy versus spy for years, with U.S. trade secrets the target of a wide-ranging French intelligence campaign. The French goal is to steal economic advantage for their companies. Sources say that in technology, wherever America has an edge, the French have a spy.
The French government actually sanctions industrial espionage by its citizens. There's a branch of the French Secret Service that is set up to actually perpetrate this type of activity on visiting American businessmen, and they also send agents to the United States.
Just last month in Dallas federal court, Texas Instruments Corporation settled a suit which alleged French spies infiltrated the company as employees and stole secrets for French industry. As evidence of a wider campaign, the CIA leaked this French intelligence agency list of 49 U.S. corporate targets. At the top of the list, Bell Helicopter. Sources say the CIA visited Bell to warn officials about French methods. Tactics have included placing agents inside U.S. corporations, intercepting telecommunications, bugging hotel rooms, and even placing listening devices in the airline seats of U.S. executives traveling abroad.
They understand exactly what they need and what they're looking for and where they have to get it. We're not on the same playing field.
A former CIA chief told Congress the agency should do more to help.
I think our corporations deserve to understand how they can defend against intelligence collection against them.
A recent FBI study found nearly 40% of companies surveyed had thefts or attempted thefts of secrets. Today, it seems espionage is shifting from ideology to simple larceny. Scott Pelley, CBS News, Hearst, Texas.
The chairman of the Federal Reserve said today there are signs the U.S. economy may finally be slowing down after a string of interest rate hikes. And Alan Greenspan said the Fed may actually be able to lower rates down the road when it's clear inflation is no longer a threat. Greenspan is predicting inflation this year will run 3 to 3.5%.
Halftime for the Republicans' contract with America. What the GOP has found to celebrate. Also tonight, O.J. Simpson's lawyers try again to portray the police investigation as shoddy. And Eye on America, a fugitive from justice, finally comes in from the cove.
Please press
press 3 for California romantic getaways. Press 4 for sports and recreation adventures.
Next vacation, let us help point the way. Call 1-800-GO-CALA and we'll fax or mail you free vacation tips today. Act now before California becomes real normal and boring. Yeah, right.
This helps diagnose arthritis. To effectively relieve the minor pain of arthritis, use this, Advil. Advil works directly at the site of pain. It's fast and gentler to your stomach than aspirin. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Fibercon or Metamucil? Both give you the same predictable regularity, the same natural action of fiber. So what makes Fibercon different? With Fibercon, I get my fiber in 2 caplets. Fibercon, fiber regularity that's easier to take.
Republicans in Congress today hailed their progress midway through their 100-day legislative agenda. They also signaled the second half will include an assault on affirmative action and the school lunch and breakfast programs. For his part, President Clinton today saw the 100-day glass as half empty, but full of mean-spirited cutbacks. Bob Schieffer begins tonight's coverage of the first 100 days of the new Congress. Halfway there.
On the 50th day, Republicans smiled. Did they ever? They called their own pep rally to serve notice they've reached the halfway point.
We are on schedule. We are getting the job done.
It's true every time the House makes good on one of the promises listed in the Republican contract with America, Gingrich punches a hole in his personal laminated copy. And it's a card that's getting punched with some regularity. The contract's first item got punched when the balanced budget amendment and the line item veto passed the House with votes to spare. So did stopping violent criminals. That's legislation to build more prisons, make police searches easier, and give cash grants to cities to fight crime. A strong national defense also got punched. Republicans lost the fight to spend more on space defense, but did pass a slew of bills to keep defense spending up and foreign involvement down. Republicans also get credit for passing the contract's provision, which puts Congress under the same laws as everyone else. As for what's left to do in the next 50 days, well, Republicans talk about that day after day.
We will pass welfare reform to encourage work, family reinforcement to crack down on deadbeat dads,
Tax cuts for middle-income families.
government regulatory reform, common sense legal reform, and congressional term limits.
But Gingrich is the first to say those are the things that will be the hardest to pass. So the heavy lifting is still ahead, especially in the Senate, where Democrats are trying to stall everything.
I signed a few contracts myself, but not the so-called contract with America.
Even so, public opinion is running the Republicans' way on a lot of this, so the betting is they'll eventually get the Senate to go along with some parts of the contract, too. But not in the first 100 days. Fast action makes the Senate nervous. Bob Schieffer, CBS News at the Capitol.
Unwilling to cede the day to the Republicans, President Clinton traveled to Capitol Hill to meet with House Democrats and rally his somewhat dispirited troops to position themselves as champions of average Americans fighting against cruel budget cuts.
We have no intention of abandoning the American people to unproven theories and extreme positions.
Case in point, Mr. Clinton and his fellow Democrats attacked Republican proposals to cut school breakfast and lunch programs, merging them into block grants to be used as each state wishes.
I do not agree with it. I do not think it is right. And it seems to me that this is one of the things that we hired on to do, to stick up for the interests of children.
And around town, Democrats brandished bottles of ketchup, charging that the Republican proposal is even meaner than a rejected Reagan administration plan to count ketchup as a vegetable in school lunches.
Now what they're trying to do is literally take away meals from kids.
Republicans accuse the Democrats of scare tactics, but they also seem somewhat sympathetic to how the opposition must now feel.
For the Democrats to learn the minority skills. It is a tougher thing to learn. And we intend to give them all the time they need.
And the White House says the president is learning to focus on issues he thinks will make Americans turn on Republicans. Get ready for more presidential charges that the contract is really a hit on working families. Rita Braver, CBS News at the White House.
James Watt former Interior Secretary in the Reagan-Bush years, was indicted on criminal charges today for activities after he was forced to resign that post. The charges stem from the investigation of federal housing contract money meant to help the poor that was actually awarded to politically connected people in the 1980s. Watt is accused of lying to Congress and a grand jury.
When it comes to great resorts, nothing beats a Carnival cruise. All your daytime fun, all your nighttime shows and entertainment, and all your foods included too in one low price. Reach, what are you doing here?
You have to ask?
I think I do have to ask.
I mean,
yes.
after all these years of that, see me now.
It must be working, huh?
Working on me.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
All right, Kathy, it's so fun. Shit.
Okay, Daddy's turn to eat. Mommy said, try Crispix. It doesn't get soggy in milk. Yeah, Mommy is funny. Okay, so it starts crispy. Big deal, huh? Well, like childhood, this won't last.
Kellogg's Crispix cereal. Delicious corn and rice that stays crispy to the end.
Last bite. This should be mushy enough for you. Hey, it's still crispy. You're gonna love this stuff. Of course, you're gonna need teeth first. That means orthodontist.
My new denture adhesive is polygrip free. It is free of artificial flavors, and it's free of artificial colors. Polygrip free holds my dentures tight. I can enjoy more of my favorite foods. New Polygrip free.
I know turkey. Very tasty.
Yeah, it's just really good.
Delicious.
Louis Rich. That's my dream turkey sandwich.
Louis Rich carving board turkey. It reminds me of Thanksgiving.
Can I take another bite?
Switch to Rich. Louis Rich. It's today's taste.
Louis Rich. It rivals Grandma.
He's a doctor today because of affirmative action.
I never would be where I am today had it not been for that.
But don't tell that to this fireman.
It's unfair. It penalizes guys for having studied, for having been white males.
So who's right? Before you make up your mind, Eye on America takes a special look at both sides of affirmative action. Tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
At the O.J. Simpson trial today, the defense tried to shoot down the prosecution theory that Nicole Brown Simpson perhaps was killed before Ronald Goldman. Under cross-examination, a police detective acknowledged he couldn't say for sure who was killed first. The defense spent hours today attacking the police investigation of the Simpson case, as Bill Whitaker reports.
Defense attorney Johnny Cochran methodically worked to pick apart Detective Tom Lang's testimony that the LAPD conducted a thorough, efficient murder probe. On cross-examination, one of the lead investigators admitted that crucial blood evidence from the back gate at the murder scene was collected only much later, after throngs of tourists had traipsed by.
It was not done on June 13th, was it? No. In fact, it wasn't done on June 14th, was it?
That's correct.
And neither the 15th.
That's correct.
In fact, it was not done until July 3rd. 3 weeks later, is that right?
That's correct.
Lang also admitted the coroner never tested blood drops splattered across Nicole Simpson's back, didn't keep the contents of her stomach, didn't wrap the victim's hands in plastic to preserve evidence of a struggle, never tested Nicole Simpson for rape.
Do you know whether or not she had any other male visitor that night? Do you know that?
No.
But in your investigative capacity, you decided not to order this rape kit, which you could have ordered. Isn't that correct, sir?
In my observations, in my experiences, sex was the last thing on the mind of this attacker. It was an overkill. It was a brutal overkill.
I wasn't asking
no
about
evidence of rape.
I was not
no
asking
evidence
about
of
that.
sexual assault.
I wasn't asking about that. I asked.
Cochran's doing an excellent job of putting the police on the defensive and picking apart mistake by mistake what they did wrong. The jury may take that as a list of possible reasonable doubt.
Lang is considered to be less vulnerable than controversial Detective Mark Furman, who may have gotten some good news today. According to newly released court papers, the woman who accuses Furman of being a racist now says she doesn't want to testify. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
What could make a mother kill a child? The question was asked over and over in the Susan Smith case in South Carolina. Now it's being asked in California, in a case that is once again putting a spotlight on the national problem of domestic violence. Correspondent Reed Galen has the story.
The day after Michael Fleming's wife threw their two sons off a bridge, he's struggling for answers.
My family was my world, and it's been a shock. No words to really express it. One of my boys is dead. The other one's critical. He's fighting for his life.
Yesterday was Fleming's birthday. His wife, Donna, observed it by taking their two little boys, ages 22 months and 3 years, to the top of this Long Beach bridge and flinging them into the water 50 feet below. Then she jumped herself.
The lady was keeping herself afloat. The children were face down, floating.
The youngest child is dead. The 3-year-old hangs on in critical condition. Their mother wasn't injured. She's charged with murder and attempted murder in what may have been a horrific, twisted act of revenge, the culmination of a classic story of domestic misery. 6 times in the last 13 months, police were called to the Flemings' apartment. Michael Fleming was twice convicted of battery and spent 10 days in jail.
I don't want to comment on any of this story that was circulating about my family life or my marriage. I don't want to interfere with the investigation by the police.
Had Fleming attacked her children in a more private way, it might not have been widely reported. But parents kill their children every day in America. The Centers for Disease Control estimates that 2,000 children each year die as the result of parental abuse or outright murder.
A woman being helpless, angry, will feel that her only target for expressing her anger at the man who is abusing her is through the children.
Donna Fleming is undergoing psychiatric evaluation and will be arraigned tomorrow. Reed Galen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Take a good look through new Transitions Comfort lenses. The new lightweight plastic prescription lenses with a special tint that lightens and darkens as the light changes. The only lightweight plastic lenses that darken and lighten just like that. It's comfort you can see day or night, inside or outside. Ask for new Transitions Comfort lenses and see for yourself. They're right in any light.
You know your dry skin is really bad when it keeps you from enjoying the things you love. Mine hurts so much, I finally went to see the dermatologist. I asked her to cure my dry skin. She said there is no cure, but there is Curel. Curel is serious therapy.
Clinical tests prove Curel moisturizes better than even Lubriderm or Carry.
Curel sure feels like a cure to me.
Until there's a cure, there's Curel.
While a brother may be hard to propel, the new Hoover Power Drive is self-propelled, making cleaning so easy, even a brother could do it.
Hoover, nobody does it like you.
Hyperkeratosis? Symptom: persistent, itchy, flaky scalp. Solution: Neutrogena T-Gel. It works. Neutrogena T-Gel Shampoo.
Here's why the Starches are another Tylenol extended relief family.
I get headaches from stress on the job. That's my story. The pain would make me just want to go home and hide. Now I get relief that lasts my entire workday.
Now Christine uses Tylenol extended relief with this unique bi-layer caplet. One layer of strong relief to attack the pain quickly, and one layer to make sure that strong relief lasts.
Extended relief. It does the job.
Tylenol extended relief. Strong relief right away. Strong relief the whole day.
Her son was left with her ex-husband's girlfriend. She never saw him alive again. Who killed Evan? Find out on 48 Hours Thursday.
This is George Washington's birthday, but there's not much to celebrate in the city that bears his name. Washington, D.C., as in devoid of cash. As correspondent Linda Douglas reports, government auditors today declared the capital of the richest nation on earth insolvent.
This is the Washington millions come to see, the capital where the symbols of national pride abound. But many parts of the city are a national shame, dangerous and desperately poor. And now Washington's local miseries have become a national problem because the district is broke.
Given the continued spending at current levels, it is now clear that the district will run out of cash as early as this summer.
For 20 years, the district has tried to govern itself, though Congress restricted its ability to raise revenue. Most who work here live outside the district and pay no taxes.
The district is not able to access the wealth that is within it and that comes in and that is earned here by commuters
But among district residents, unemployment is high and tens of thousands are on government assistance. Local services are crumbling. Schools forced to close because they are unsafe. Emergency services hampered by broken equipment. 1/5 of public housing is considered uninhabitable. Mayor Marion Barry, who fought for D.C. independence, today asked Congress to take over parts of the district's government.
So for the record, we want to indicate that we cannot solve this problem by ourselves.
D.C. has a bloated local government. 1 in 10 residents works for the district. Until that changes, Congress may be unwilling to bail the district out.
I will not bring an appropriation bill to the Congress. I can't do it. It won't pass. To give the district more money this year.
But it is only a matter of time before Congress may have to step in. What is at stake is not only the plight of the district, but its image as the nation's capital. Linda Douglas, CBS News, Washington.
After 6 months of a truce in Northern Ireland, the prime ministers of Britain and Ireland today unveiled what they called a, quote, framework for lasting peace. Their plan calls for Protestants and Catholics to share power and for closer ties with the Irish Republic. Reaction was mixed but sharply negative from Protestants who want to remain British. U.S. forces are making final preparations to cover the withdrawal of UN peacekeepers from Somalia. Advanced troops were scouting the beach today, clearing the way for U.S. Marines to evacuate the peacekeepers and remove U.S. military equipment. On Friday, the United States will formally take command of the last stage of the UN operation in Somalia.
A 50-year-old stockbroker is going home to Chicago tonight after a record-setting flight from South Korea. Steve Fawcett brought his hot air balloon down for a landing in the frozen fields of Saskatchewan. He's the first person to cross the Pacific Ocean alone in a balloon.
I always said I'd come back here. And minor arthritis pain wasn't going to hold me back. Not as long as I have my ultra-strength Bengay. It has 3 pain relievers. They only have 1. It's the strongest Bengay ever for deep, penetrating warmth right where it hurts to help the pain go away. Because to me, retirement has nothing to do with doing nothing. Ultra-strength Bengay. Nothing stronger.
You have a 30-year mortgage. So shouldn't you have a 30-year faucet? Moen. Buy it for looks. Buy it for life.
Monday, I soak my dentures. Tuesday, I brush. Wednesday, I soak.
Wait. All you need is denture cream. Why soak when denture cream gets dentures twice as clean and has minty mouthwash ingredients? All you need is denture cream.
Every day.
30 years ago, we promised to take care of each other.
We sure did.
And today we're taking better care of our health with Ensure.
More than a vitamin supplement, Ensure is a delicious drink with all the nutrients adults need to help stay healthy, active, be energetic.
Drink Ensure as a meal.
Or in between meals.
Ensure is recommended #1 by doctors as a source of complete balanced nutrition.
Ensure to your health.
To our health.
And now there's new Ensure High Protein, low in saturated fat.
For years, AT&T's television commercials convinced my mom, my sister, and me not to join MCI savings programs.
Then we heard about MCI's new friends and family, and we decided to try it. So we joined together.
Now, when we spend just $10 a month, we save 50% on all the calls we make to each other.
That's half of what we used to pay on AT&T's basic rate for the same calls.
And now we realize that all the time AT&T was telling us not to join MCI, they were charging us America's highest long-distance rate.
Do you remember 4-time Olympic gold diving champion Greg Louganis? Well, now there may be a new reason to recall him. The Chicago Sun-Times is reporting that Louganis is HIV positive. The paper says Louganis reveals in a new book that he was worried about an accident during the '88 Olympics. He hit his head on a diving board and was afraid his blood dripped into the pool, putting others at risk of infection.
In the 1930s, Thomas Wolfe wrote a great American story called You Can't Go Home Again. In the 1990s, it must have seemed that way to a kid from Connecticut who went from being an all-American boy to a fugitive in exile. But now at last he is going home. Correspondent Anthony Mason tells the story in tonight's Eye on America.
In Darien, Connecticut, a wealthy New York suburb, Alex Kelly grew up a privileged child. As a senior at Darien High in 1986, Kelly was a star on the football team, co-captain of the wrestling team. Known for pinning his opponents quickly, his trademark move was called the guillotine. But by the time these yearbook pictures were published, Alex Kelly was under arrest. The charge was rape. 2 teenage girls, 3 days apart.
The first victim was choked. She was threatened with death if she did not submit. The second victim was choked and threatened afterwards.
8 years ago this month, Alex Kelly had a date in this Connecticut courtroom to face charges of sexual assault and kidnapping. The judge, the prosecutor, and his attorney were all here waiting. But Alex Kelly never showed up.
He didn't appear. They ordered his rearrest, forfeited his bond, and the chase began.
A chase that would last 8 years. Darien police couldn't find Kelly anywhere. He seemed to have disappeared into the hills. He had the French Alps.
Do you know this man? Yes, he lives in the apartment about this doors.
The past 3 winters he spent here at Le Grave, the chic French ski resort.
He's skiing all days long.
The 4 years before that, he skied at Chamonix, playground for the international jet set. His lawyer now says he was suffering.
I don't think that he has had a real fun time over these last several years. I'm sure it's better than sitting in a dungeon.
He spent time in Sweden and time here. It sounded to me like a lot of fun.
In France, friends joked that Alex never went home. They were never told about his troubles in America.
To us, he's a real nice guy.
And I find him a typical American, quite loud and funny guy.
The Darien police knew another Alex Kelly. Even before the rape charges, they'd arrested him for a string of 9 burglaries as a teenager. He reportedly stole $100,000 worth of jewelry and silverware. Kelly's parents paid at least $20,000 in restitution to get their son off the hook.
Police long suspected Joseph Kelly, a plumbing contractor, and his wife Melanie were secretly helping their son. Last summer, armed with a search warrant, they raided the Kellys' home and found the clue they needed. An address on a remote island off the west coast of Sweden. Swedish police were there within hours. They just missed him.
We didn't find him at all. He was gone.
But Kelly was well known in Klädesholmen.
He was here in summer. He's an American boy.
For the past few summers, he'd lived with the family of his Swedish girlfriend, working in this supermarket owned by her father.
Everybody is shocked, I think.
In Zurich, Switzerland last month, with police closing in, his passport running out, and the threat of his parents being prosecuted, Alex Kelly walked through the doors of this police station and surrendered.
I think he wanted to come in when he was ready. It's as simple as that.
Don't all criminals want to come in when they're ready?
Perhaps.
Most of them don't get 8 years in Switzerland, France, and Sweden.
No, some do, some don't. Not many.
Prosecutor Bruce Hudock will finally have Alex Kelly in court.
I have 2 victims of sexual assaults who have waited 8 years. Justice has to be done here, one way or another.
Alex Kelly now sits in a Swiss jail awaiting extradition. His vacation from justice, it appears, is over. In Darien, Connecticut, I'm Anthony Mason for Eye on America.
And that's part of our world tonight. Tomorrow on CBS This Morning, the man in overall charge of prosecuting O.J. Simpson. An exclusive interview with Los Angeles District Attorney Gil Garcetti.
And Dan and I will see you again tomorrow night. Thank you for joining us and for all of us at CBS News. Good night.
Good night.